Season 13, episode 1130 of the Too Thick Pod, your home for all things sports, cards, and levity. Now, give me 1 second. I said that maybe a little wrong. This is episode 11,300.
11,300. So, if you're a weekly listener of Too Thick, decode why it's 1,100 or what is that, 11,300? Because I have no idea, and I would like to see some answers on that. Well, welcome to Thicc. Before we get into it,
I'll tell you what. Anybody who can come up and within a few hours of this dropping, DM me why it's episode 11,300. I'll hook you up.
Okay, I like that. Get a hold of Meat Sticks, and if I figure it out, do I get the hookup?
You do not, and I'm surprised you don't get it because it's all about you.
1,100. See, now I'm going to be thinking about this the whole time.
This is 110% solely you, man.
So there's a clue, Too Thick fam. It's about me.
11,300.
But how's it going? We got Meat Sticks and Tummy Sweats on the ones and twos today. I'm pumped. I love when I get to talk just with my big bro.
Yeah, man. I'm excited because typically we record at nighttime. It is mid-afternoon, and so there's a million things going on. This could easily be like a 14-hour episode, so we might even have to cut this thing short. There's just a lot going on. I got a few quick bullet points. Typically pods wait till the end, and they do the little miscellaneous stuff at the end.
Yep.
I want to touch on a few of them on the front, if that's okay with you.
I'm okay with anything. This kind of reminds us of our, how we talked about our phone calls in mid-afternoon? This is like our. So now you guys are listening to what Jeremy and I talk to on a daily basis before the podcast. This is like a pre-episode.
Only it would be different. It would be like you call me a bunch of times. I hit the FU button with my pre-made messages.
I'll call you in 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
I'm on a conference call, all of those things.
Yeah.
And then when I call Manny back, it's like this, and you hear like, "Thank you for stopping at Raising Cane's. Can I help you?" Jeremy, hold on 1 second. I have to order 14 pieces. Have you ever had Raising Cane's? It is the greatest food ever. I would throw my wife away for Raising Cane's. This is the best chicken ever. No, Manny, it's mediocre chicken with a lack of honey and good dipping sauce. It's not that good.
I'm just a better human because I answer the phone whenever you call, no matter what. You hear my screaming babies in the background. You hear me ordering food. You make an excuse to not answer and then give me the 10 minutes, and then you prepare yourself to call me back.
Dude, I don't know how you do it because you're in every group chat. You're on Clubhouse, every live that's going on. You have serious ability to multitask. That I used to clown you and think that you were like you played up the ADHD thing. So I'm like, this dude is hyper focused. He's lasered. He's dialed in. Any chat that's going on anywhere, you're involved. Any live stream, whether it's in New Zealand with our boys, triple play or whatever the hell they call themselves, whether it's with them.
No, that's just ADHD, and I'm able.
You're there. It's group chats everywhere. And I'm like, how does he do it? There's not enough hours in the day for me to be a loving husband, an incredible father, a sex symbol, charismatic, face of the hobby while participating in all these things. Yet you do it with a smile on your face.
That's because you have, like I said, it's ADHD, but it's also you got to be quick-witted, be able to respond really quick in a trolling manner like I am. Like yesterday when I did that troll about those boxes being crushed, and then I was gone.
I very rarely do you I have a very unique sense of humor. It's very it's not typical stuff the stuff that amuses me it's not very humorous to other people.
Cocaine Bear.
When Cocaine Bear is just awesome. What Scorsese is to you guys, Cocaine Bear is to the Reckless household. But anyway, you were doing that. You did something, and I just I cracked up, and I was so busy. I legitimately wanted to stop the chat and let you know that you were legitimately funny in that moment.
Thank you. Yeah, I try. A lot of stuff, I would say 90-10. 9 times out of 10, it's going to fail, and they get crickets, but that one time it makes up for it.
Oh, man.
I'm batting 100.
Dude, you're crushing it. So anyway, there's a lot going on. One thing that I wanted to draw attention to because we've chatted about it, and I really don't know who truly uses Veriswap and who doesn't. I candidly have not used it as much recently because I've grown tired of people when I say, hey, I'm trading down on a, like, let's say a $500 card, that they offer me six $30 cards and think that, like, yeah, I want to take that back. So they introduced something yesterday that I saw that there's a buy it now feature. So if you have your cards posted, somebody can just hit the buy it now. Now there is a switch that you have to go into the settings and toggle on. But I was thinking about it, and I'm going to do the math, or at least I say I'm going to do the math, and I'll circle back with some facts. Whether that happens, we shall see. But I was thinking about it. It might be a good opportunity just to sell there. And here's why. Like, if you sell it on eBay, you're paying between 13 to 15%. So we'll use $100 as a baseline.
Yep.
If I sell a card for $100, I'm netting $85, right?
Yep.
But then, unless it was specified in the shipping and or I paid extra, shipping is what the shipping is. And there's always the shenanigans of my package didn't get delivered. USPS lost it. UPS lost it. Whatever. Timeout on a side note. I bought an Amon-Ra St. Brown from somebody who lives in Westland. So it's an hour and a half from me. It's been 8 days. And when I looked at informed delivery on USPS, my package is in Florida. I live in Michigan, it's probably an hour if you book it. I live an hour away. My damn package is in Florida.
Dude, that's like when you sent me a package, or was it TNT? I don't know what it is with USPS in Michigan, but the shit has to go through every like corner of Michigan before it hits you every time.
Okay, so I got a package the other day. I bought that Franz Wagner Gold NT RPA out of 24. It had signature for delivery. We weren't home. So I went to the post office in my town, not even thinking to pick it up. And they're like, no, you have to go to another town to pick it up. And I was like, by no means was I rude because they know us there. We ship a ton and they're very friendly. And like, I must have had an expression on my face where the poor woman's like, yeah, I know it's goofy. It's the way. So I have to drive to another town to pick up my package. So however USPS is doing it, I'm sure there's people who are far smarter than you and I, better at logistics, but it's always goofy. But I say all that to come back with Veriswap. It's a 3% fee on the value of the card, and that fee insures your package, fully insured.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm thinking if I'm selling that $100 card and I'm going to net $97 plus whatever my shipping is, as long as you do signature for delivery, their shipping is insured.
Yeah.
Like, you might not get the eyeballs or the audience, but if you're having some of those big name players that people are looking for, maybe putting it up for a few dollars below comps on Veriswap might be a play. Again, this is a very, very new thought that I haven't really, I need to go down and, play it out, make sure it works. But just something that I'm thinking about this morning is that.
Can I kind of ask you some questions to see if you know the answers and kind of see on the outside looking in, maybe potential questions that are coming? Do you have to pay the same thing like you said, the 3% for the trade? So you do pay the 3%. Is it for the seller and the buyer?
Yeah.
So they're getting their 6%. What makes, like, you kind of explain how like the market there can be manipulated because they don't want to pay higher end, like the 3%. Can people get burnt because they're paying at a higher price point because of buy it now? I don't see them selling a lot on buy it nows because everyone's prices are inflated on there.
Well, correct. Well, there are people who are very active who adjust their stuff all the time. And they've got like tiers where it's like no status, up and comer, veteran, and then like Hall of Fame. And I think they've added like where you can rate the person that you're dealing with or something like that. If it's my cards, and now that there is a buy it now feature, they're probably on most of them. They're probably a couple bucks more than what they really are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just because I also am very clear in my profile. It's like, hey, I don't have time to adjust comps on a daily basis. And a lot of the stuff that I have up there is super short printed, or it's pop one, or the only comp is the one that I bought. So I also don't think anybody's going to sell their $500 card for $200 unless they're desperate and need cash.
Yes.
So like assuming that the prices are fair, like, hey, I've got a card, you're willing to pay that price, we're in agreement that that's good. My thought is instead of me netting 85% and hoping that the card gets to you, maybe I net 90, 95% when it's all said and done and have the peace of mind. And really the play becomes just taking advantage of their insurance policy and the assurance that the card's going to get to you. And if it doesn't, we're both going to be okay.
For sure. It might actually help out the manipulation of the trade value. Because like you said, you're accurate. I'm going to say this. Jeremy's accurate with his prices. But then there's people on there that aren't accurate that try to trade down, kind of like what you were saying. They want your $500 card, but they'll give a value of these $50 cards at 100 and say it's matching. Like, let's do the trade. It might level out the manipulation of that field because then people are wanting to sell. So they kind of have to go towards the market side. So then now you're seeing it at the market to buy it now, and then the trade would be easier.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll see how it plays out. One thing that I learned really from Dave from Extraordinary Cards, and he's got the Sold Too Early podcast, is he was always like, he priced his stuff above on purpose because he's like, and this is what resonated with us. When we set up at shows for the longest time, it was, and I'm just going to use 100 because it's a nice, easy number. If a card is $100, we're pricing it at 85% right off the bat. So we're pricing it 85. Yes. His theory, and he's far more experienced than I, was no matter what number you put on a card,
they're going to negotiate.
They're going to negotiate down. So like, it doesn't matter. He says that all the time. It doesn't matter. So, you know, there's always, and that seems to be true in my experiences, like outside of like, hey, that's a $5 PC card, or that's just like something I have to have and I don't care about price. And those are typically $3 to $20 cards. There's going to be a negotiation. And so what is easier is to be a couple bucks higher. That way you're not constantly pricing cards, because when you do a lot of shows, it's a lot of time and effort to constantly go update and go, okay, it's 120, now it's 110, now it's 95, now it's 130. Just, you know, let's leave it at 135 and let's have the conversation.
I think the best way though is, because on the other side of person that doesn't like feel comfortable negotiating, I kind of want the price where it is, so then it makes it easier. I think if you do that, maybe also put a sign that says willing to negotiate, because if I see comps, like for me, when I'm looking at a card, like going through card shows and people's tables, I know comps are just like a starting point. You've brought that up to me, but if I see that starting point higher than the eBay auction, right, then I'm just going to continue moving because I'm like, this guy doesn't want to deal. But if you have like willing to negotiate stuff, or even how we talk to people saying, hey, anything in here, like, we're willing to negotiate, like that makes it better. So I would say if you're going to do that on a card show person, like it might be best just to put willing to negotiate, meaning that, yes, these are a little bit higher. Maybe you want, because you already know they're going to negotiate, but then it brings people in and kind of makes them feel comfortable.
That's an incredible point, because one thing, and I gave you a hard time the other day and I actually felt bad for a brief moment. Not that I felt bad, because my message came from a place of love and caring and thoughtfulness. But I wanted to make sure that like the actual message of it was like, you had a game plan, the TCG box, the case.
Yes, yeah.
You ripped it. And the plan was to, and to be clear, I'm not picking on you. This is just something fresh that happened. The game plan was rip the box, sell all the sets that you don't want as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Make it valuable. Get like, let's say 50 to 75% of your money back. Sell some of the other stuff, you know, whether it's eBay or whatever, and then grade everything.
Yep.
And then you got to like 80% of that, and then you were only going to grade a portion of it. Yes. Now, in fairness to you, the company we use for grading is collecting upfront, which switched. Yes. Right? Like that's relatively new, where it was you were paying on the back end. Yes. And when you're grading 20, 30, 40, 50 cards, I understand for people that's a legitimate cost and not everybody has it.
Correct.
So my point to you was, because it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you might have gotten burned a little bit by doing that, but not being first to market. Correct. Brandon beats you there. He's the first one. He sells the card at 700. You come in behind and get 350.
Yeah. So the thing with that was, like you said, you had to pay up front. And Brandon like told us on the thing, you get a lot of hits in a case of TCG. So you want to be first to market. So you not only do you want to grade, but you want to grade on the priority level. So like let's just break it down. Like there's 16 cards on the One Piece case I broke. So out of those 60 cards, I want to grade, let's just say the $40, get them back in a month, which there's people that are grading at the $100, 16, that's $1,600 just to grade on top of your $800 for the case that you bought. So you're looking at $2,000 in the hole, right? So if you don't have $2,000 in the hole to be first to market, yes, Brandon has that, and that's why he's successful. But there's like what I did was I looked at the biggest hits and graded those first. But then again, we're friends with the people like that. They help us, right? So like I did all like the $40 ones, so I'm still waiting on them. So maybe next time the bigger hits I have to grade at 100 and make sure I have some money hold back on that aspect. Because what I do is I do have the money, but I'm buying other stuff instead of I need to focus probably on just this one thing, do it, get it back, sell, do it, get it back, sell.
So I'm totally a system and process guy. And
Yeah.
so like I'm constantly tinkering and adjusting the system. And once it gets dialed in for me,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just because I'm that damn stupid or my brain's that broken, that's the only way I can function.
Yeah.
But like it almost becomes thoughtless because okay, this is the system, this is the process. We know that it works.
Yep.
Just stick to it. So where I was giving you the hard time is like, well, I only grade half of them. What the hell are you doing? It's like a broken plan. And the reason I say that is for shows, you also have to understand what kind of people are at card shows. I think most people, if you get them, like we're kind of like, whether it's introverted or odd, or maybe some people are socially awkward. Like we've got some quirks. We're nerds. We like cardboard pictures of like athletes or anime or whatever the hell it is you're collecting. If your plan is to be like, hey, I don't have the time to price my cards every single day, but I am willing to negotiate. You said that sometimes, and I'm the same way, if I look at a table and the person's sitting down, stuffing their face with fucking shitty VFW pizza or nasty, like, lips, butts, and cheeks. What is that thing? Hot dogs, Kegel dogs, or whatever the hell they eat in Michigan. Ugh.
Don't even say hi to you.
Don't even say hi to you, and all their stuff is over comp. I'm keeping it moving.
Exactly.
Now, that person might be just like you and I, like, hey, I'm willing to negotiate. But if you don't take it the step further, whether you're either warm and welcoming when somebody walks up to your table or have a sign that says, hey, everything's negotiable, let's chat, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, and you're only doing like a half-assed plan, which ultimately screws yourself.
Correct. So I would say maybe we do that, Jeremy, at next card shows. Just you have a sign that says buy and maybe say we'll negotiate. Because maybe potential sales were not made because people looked at your comps on your numbered cards that were rare and said no instead of talking to you. Because maybe potentially you were doing a deal with someone else. Because I want to make it clear that you're not the type that's not eating, but you could be focused on someone else trying to buy that they are looking at the cards and see it price at a certain point that they don't agree with, but not realizing that you would negotiate.
So we're constantly thinking, like when I go to a show, what do I like about somebody's setup? What do I hate? How can I improve that? Whether it's like how easy I can see the cards, it's interaction, the way things are set up. And have you ever heard of, it's called KISS? And I always get the last two letters mixed up. It's either keep it simple, stupid, or keep it stupid, simple.
Yeah.
So Courtney and I were talking about like, what if we actually, have those little pop-ups that you put on the table? And just instead of assuming that people have the same knowledge base as us or are thinking like the same way that we are, because I would say you and I spend a lot of time in this space and we forget that a lot of people, this truly is a few hours on the weekend, a couple hours throughout the week. And that is the extent of their hobby experience.
Yes.
So I would argue that those people are also morons for not listening to the Too Thicc pod 11,300 episodes in, because if you were to consume all of that, you're probably a billionaire and retired.
You just listen to Manny and you're not a billionaire. You're
correct.
You're losing money.
You actually don't have internet and you're on the side of the freeway.
Exactly.
But we're actually thinking about getting those little pop-ups, those really nice pop-ups that all but like legitimately in the shortest form possible, very explicitly clear, like this is what you can do at our table. You
Yes.
can negotiate. We want to trade down. We want to pick up value. These are the kinds of cards that we're looking for. And just take out some of the guesswork. If you have questions, feel free to ask. And you know our table, we couldn't be any more friendly. I think we're friendly to the point where it becomes people are like, those people are weirdos.
I know. Well, I get the look. Trust me when I say, "Hey, how's it going?" They're like,
Yeah, you get the old white man.
"What? What's this brownie saying to me?" No, I
The
also
wall
like.
didn't stop you.
Did you get shit from Texas recently? No.
Yeah.
But I also think that negotiation would be a good one, and another sign would probably be. We kind of discussed this is what you're buying, but what percentage you're buying at a certain price point. Because, and this is generic cards, like the rare stuff's different, but like if there's say like a generic card that has multiple sales at 600, we're paying 80%. If it's at, and then you keep going like a tier list. I like that.
I think if I had like a consistently strong bankroll along with a exit strategy of each and every one of those cards. And I'm glad I was able to use exit strategy because that's going to be a beautiful segue for the next topic.
Yeah.
My fear is like I might go into a show and I'm card rich, cash poor. And all of a sudden that sign is not applicable, or something could happen that changes the dynamics of what I'm looking for in that given moment. I think if you're David Adams or you're Hit Parade and like, you're walking in every show with 100K in cash,
that's
and you've got a repack that you can sell, and but like in a given week, we might be getting ready to do like a wrestling break. So like we're on the hunt for wrestling, or we're getting ready to go to Chicago. So all of a sudden for us, picking up Chicago athletes where we can have that easy arbitrage opportunity makes sense. So I do think, to your point though, if you can get to like a good balance where you're spending 20 and selling 20, spending 10 and selling 10, and kind of continue that cycle, I think it makes all the sense in the world and removes a lot of friction.
Why don't you make a sign like when you go to Chicago? Why don't you make a sign saying buying Detroit?
That is a very good idea. And we've tried to figure out how do we share that message? Like, how do we let people know specifically, I am looking for this, this, and this? Because you also like, I think we're shadow banned because we'll post some like, or maybe we're hated, but we'll post awesome cards. And I'll see somebody who posts a card that's not as awesome and get 700 likes.
Yep.
I post like a badass player, the chase player, like a gold or a 10, and I get like 30 likes.
Are you talking about your Patrick Williams?
No, just in general. Like
that's amazing. That should be like 600 to 6,000 likes.
Exactly. And so I almost wonder if sometimes like because Courtney is like incredible with, constantly marketing, that I wonder if it almost comes across as spammy. So then there's the concern of like, how do we, because there's a lot going on and you're trying to share it, but also like, I know sometimes like if this page is just a commercial all the time.
Well, people in the hobby love feet. So make sure you do that instead of like the marketing. Take a picture and have your foot in the background or something. Because I've seen pictures like that get like a lot of likes. So
do you think I could, for like whether it's Patreon or OnlyFans, a few bucks a month, and it's like feet and card picks?
Yes. You could probably do it. I bet you get some people.
Like with Courtney's background with all the photography and the hair, like, so she's always doing like these boudoir photo shoots, and like all these girls could be like, hey, let me get them feet, girl. Go get yourself get a petty. You know what I mean? Let me put this slab between them toes.
You should
let me get paid. Can I be like the foot card pimp?
Yeah, you could be the foot card. Have Courtney do the photo shoot, and you pay the models to take pictures with your
food
card.
Like we could be like food card porn.
Hey, speaking of that, maybe Courtney will do our we should do a 2 Thicc calendar, me and you, for next year. Sell that bad boy.
Woo! Sold out. We'd have to do one of those corny ass commercials like the comedians do, like, hey, first show sold out, but guess what? We're gonna run it back tomorrow live on Ticketmaster at 9 a.m. The pre-sale starts for the encore.
I just picture you as a picture, just like on the bed.
So I tried something. This is completely unrelated. I did something, and do you ever find yourself where you're trying to share a card story
Yeah.
with people who are not into cards or just don't get it?
Yes.
And I know that happens to Courtney a lot because a lot of her girlfriends are just like, you're fucking whacked, man.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about. You're a loser. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
We were out and we were meeting with somebody for something like personal life related. And this guy walked in and everybody got up and was dapping him up. And we're at like a kind of like a real modern, like hip, chic, like bar and grill for lunch.
Yep.
And I asked my guy, Alec, I'm like, who is that? And he's like, that's Detroit food porn. And he's a guy, and there's a few people like in the Metro Detroit area that have like huge followings. Like one guy has 50,000, one's got like 250,000, other guy's got like, and they just go to all the restaurants, and they kind of like the videos are kind of laid out like how Vadim does, you know, where they make the food look sexy. They talk about their experience, the food and drink. And now I've never actually consumed food porn, but I've always been told the guy who runs card porn is the same guy who owns food porn. So I'm like, hey, let me crowbar a card story into this. I'm like, okay, the guy who owns the real food porn also owns card porn. So and card porn is like this polarizing. And I had two people just look at me, and I knew like 3 seconds in, like, just shut up, man. Just shut up. Like, they hate you. They're gonna throw you in front of a car if you don't knock it off right now. But
yeah,
I tried to share a card story with non-card people, and it didn't go well.
See, you're sheltered because your whole family does cards. That is everyone else trying to talk to their wife or spouse about cards.
Is it?
Yeah, I tell Kaylee, like, guess what I bought? And she's like, what is this? Like, you weirdo. Like when I was ripping One Piece, she was on the live just laughing at me. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, so let me tell you something. I don't like the way it made me feel. I only want to be around card people or like because they were just blank stare look at me. And these are people that I truly care about. They're great people. Like we support our families. We work together. We've made money together. And I'm like, I just want to share this with you guys. Yeah. And you guys are both just like looking at me like, and it wasn't a long-winded story. This was like very like less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. Welcome to my world. This is why I call you 10 times during the day, because I have no one to talk to about cards.
You know, that's one of those things that until you experience it, you really don't think about it. Because now I'm thinking like last night, I took Kaya to baseball practice. We got there earlier, so we were practicing. And then we got in, they were doing some drills. And so I like to monitor it, like, you know, I like to watch and contribute. But I also know like there's a certain spot where like I need to step back. So anyway, Courtney's like showing me this thing. She's like, oh, so did you see this? And there was some like whatnot drama of another like scumbag like stealing a Pokemon card or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, did you hear about this? And we're like, we're sure about like stuff that's going in the hobby, or what do you think about this card? Or hey, did you see the Franz, man? That patch is nasty. And it's like a normal like daily conversation.
Exactly.
And so now that you said that, that's gotta suck not having an outlet, and that's why all you guys are in the chat constantly talking about it. But I'm like, I'm getting that.
Yeah, that's our outlet, is that chat, or I call you, or I'll call Brandon, because I also have good friends that want to know how I'm doing, and then they start saying, how's the cards going for you? And you don't want to go all in, like, I did this, because I have to like pull it back and be like, yeah, it's going well. Like, you don't want to be like, yeah, this dude's way out there. So, but I get excited when one of my friends that aren't in cards ask me about cards, and I just want to be like just ramble and just throw everything at him. But I'm like, this guy doesn't realize, like Jeremy realizes how much cards mean to me. So,
dude, that I didn't, because I'm thinking about it and I'm like auditing in my mind.
Yeah.
Experiences like, okay, so like we did the Disney break on ISO last night, which was phenomenal. They hit some like Mickey and Friends card that was just sick. This mini lattice card. And so like you get done and you're like, man, we're so happy. It was such a cool break. Awesome price point.
Yep.
And then we start talking about like, okay, we got drip tomorrow. Okay, these singles. And then because we got a nice system, so there's a constant, like there's like steady inflow of cash, so you get to constantly buy, which I love to do.
Yep.
I'm so excited about this card coming in. All right, I love you, baby. I'll see you in the morning. Then we wake up And we're talking about like, hey, Revolution's coming. We've got that break, and we're gonna do the bounty. And like, hey, did you see this kaboom? Yeah, that's sick. Hey, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna go record. Hey, cool. We got, and then then there's real life in between.
Yeah.
But I do have that constant release valve or somebody like right there who shares the same passion about cards.
So now you kind of realize why I call you as much as I do, just to talk about cards sometimes, because I need a hobby release, and you're my face. You're the face for me.
I think I'm almost mad at Kaylee. It's Kaylee, baby.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
step it up, Kaylee. I shouldn't have to take Manny's shitty calls all the time.
Exactly. Shout out you and Brandon, because you guys are you're the sports one, and then I called Brandon for any TCG like questions.
Dude, I just desperately want. I think I have like 40 cards for TCG out. Like, if they came back and like did something sick, like 10 black labels, I am going to become unbearable, and you're going to hate me.
Oh yeah, because I've got one and you've got two so far. I should do that since I'm doing TCG on my bio. I'll count my black label counter. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, one.
I
got 4.
Yeah, there you go.
5 TCG Masters.
No, you can't count the ones you bought that were already black label though. It has to be like a grade.
No, those were the ones I graded.
Oh, you had 5?
I had 4.
Oh, 4. Okay. I thought you had. Okay.
Out of the 10 cards that I graded, 9 of them got 10s. One of them had a 9.5. And of the 10s, 4 of them black labeled.
You must have had Tommy reviewing your cards.
I love, that's my favorite thing, to be like, Tyler, you're not allowed to touch my cards.
And Tyler always talks to me, and he's like, I'm sorry, you got 9 5s. I'm like, next time Tommy's touching it. You buy the cards, he does the reviews.
I got a PSA order back the other day. It was a small one. It was 6 cards. I went 5 for 6 on gems, and one of them got a 7.
Jeez. I got a PSA order back today. And
talk about it. Talk about it, because you said something that I found to be bothersome and problematic.
Okay.
I'm going to light you up.
So, Manny, this is my weekly L. We have these probably weekly, but Manny bought, and this is me speaking in third person, about March. I bought a Spencer Torkelson auto, in-person auto, and I looked at the auto. It looked good. Sent it to PSA to get authentic, because I'm not selling a Spencer Torkelson in-person auto without it being authentic. I have morals. But the problem was it was a heritage card, and I thought it was just a normal auto of heritage, like the blue ink autos. Until I bought it and realized it wasn't. It was in person. So I got it authentic, got it back yesterday, and it didn't come back authentic. So it was a fake auto.
Not necessarily fake. They couldn't authenticate it.
Yeah.
You could potentially send it back in, and it would get past the second time. Couple of things from my perspective. One, that sucks. I had the Nike promo Jordan come back. Do not hold her. You know what I mean? So like, that does happen. It's unfortunate when it does. When you bought that, I remember people telling you not to buy it.
Yeah.
And you did it anyways. And now I'm not beating you up over that.
No,
I do want to draw attention to the fact is, I do believe this was on the heels or right around the time that we were on the Breaking Wax podcast, or we had Don on with us.
Yes.
And there was a lot of talk about the heritage and the red ink autos.
Yes.
And what I want to draw attention to is, and this happens to me, this happens to everybody. You get caught up in the moment. Somebody that we hold in high regard, these are cards that they covet, they like to collect, they think are cool or exciting, and it just so happens a heritage card with an on-card auto walks up to your table of a local player at a price that seems pretty damn appealing.
Yes.
Whether or not you were influenced, well, I'm going to say I think you or I would have been influenced, because I did catch myself for the next few weeks looking at heritage red ink autos.
Yep.
And what I have to do sometimes is, like, one, if I'm very unfamiliar with something, take a deep breath, step back, and recognize whether or not it makes sense.
Yes.
Also, sometimes the best deal you make are the ones that you don't make. You made a mistake, and this was many months ago, 3-4 months ago. You were still learning, which is fine. What bothered me about this whole situation is you like, I'm quitting the hobby. I'm done. Everybody sucks. It's rigged. I can't be successful. And it's that can't do attitude that bothered me.
Well, when you're getting beat up and jumped all the time.
But you're not. If you quit, then those truly become losses. At that point, because you're out of the game, those are losses.
Yeah.
If you continue and grow, those become very valuable learning experiences that ultimately yielded the positive results that will eventually come if you continue
Yeah.
down this path.
Yeah. I mean, I could look at it as now I'm telling my following, the Thiccalos, do not buy in-person autos. Do not be me. So there's a positive. I'm saving a bunch of people not buying these type of cards by me doing it.
I don't like those cards. I don't know what it is about it. I do not like aftermarket autographs on cards.
There's been after buying that card, I've been seeing it everywhere, in-person autos. And some people love it, but I see where you're getting at because there's not like
it just seems weird. It just doesn't seem like that. What's that?
Structure. See, okay, would you rather have an authentic in-person on-card auto or a sticker auto that was based in Panini? Because that's where if you like in-person autos, that's why people like in-person. They're actually signing it.
It depends. There's certain cards that are designed where I'm like, man, this would have been a perfect card for an on-person auto. If it's something that I personally do and I'm going to hold for myself, maybe that. But like gun to my head, I'm taking the sticker because that's the way the card was designed and that's the way it was supposed to look. And again, that I might be in the minority of that. I see some cards where it's just like it's got like a pen or a marker or a Sharpie that doesn't really match with like an autograph that goes across the card, and it's like the autograph pulls from the appeal of the card, the eye appeal of the card. But that's me personally.
But sticker autos, how does Panini? They say it's real, but how do they really track to see if it's real? Because the only reason I'm saying it is because we've seen people sell or sign these and they just get shipped a box and they send it back.
Yeah, for sure. I'm at this point, I'm not talking about the legitimacy or the authenticity of the auto. I'm just saying from an eye appeal perspective, for me, I just don't like the way they look. And that's not something I ever felt like I would have a strong opinion about.
Mm-hmm.
But I did. I got approached by somebody who had like a real nice lot of like J-Rod.
Yes.
Julio Rodriguez. And they were all aftermarket autos. And this was right after the Chicago show where somebody was going to they were linked up. Basically, you give them your cards,
Yep.
and he gets it signed by Justin Fields, and he had some of them. And I was looking at them, and it's just like I didn't like the way it looked, and I felt like, and I could have picked up these J-Rods, but just chose not to. I didn't like them.
I'm looking at like in-person autos. I guess I would say like the in-person autos that I do like, are like the old like vintage, like a Hank Aaron and all that, because they didn't sign as much. But like the new modern, like J-Rod and all that, I'd probably stay away from.
Yeah, and like he had a couple of like I think they were white sparkles. Like I think they were the optic white sparkle with like a silver pen, and I'm sure in theory they thought it would look cool, but it just looked like that autograph didn't belong on that card. Therefore, like I wouldn't even pay. I would pay less than what he like.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I saw because I've seen Hank Aaron autos that it wasn't his rookie, but it was like a base card, and he signed it. And I thought that was pretty cool. But like you said, I don't know. I on that aspect, I know he touched the card, so it's like, but then again, that's my personal. That would be like a PC item.
Yeah. What do you? I mean, I guess I'm not really big into autographs and memorabilia either.
See, I like memorabilia and like stuff like that. So I think that's where we kind of differ. Like, would you prefer a numbered card or an auto? when you hit a hit. Like Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams, would you rather have a gold with no auto or and like an on card gold like auto?
That in that sense, because I'm looking in the optic gold rated rookie with the on card auto is I like that card. On card auto probably, but if it was like, would I rather have the card or like a Patrick Williams basketball? I'd rather have the card,
even if it's game used.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's my fear about memorabilia. I think that's like when I open that door, that becomes very expensive, and I don't think that I could be able to do both. I get laser focused on something, and I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, when the hobby became my hobby, other hobbies really fell by the wayside.
See, like with the Luka jersey that I bought, auto jersey, I would rather have the jersey because I could hang it up here than rather have the on card Luka auto. Because I feel like that's going to withstand price points more than the cards. Everyone's beating up the cards.
Sure. I mean, well, our last house, our basement was set up in a way where it was all like music posters, because like I love music. I used to go to a lot of concerts, and so I still have some of those things framed, whether it's like old school like Tech Nine before anybody ever knew who he was, or like Potluck or some of that stuff, along with like sports memorabilia. So like I had the Derrick Rose rookie jersey autographed. I had some like Javier Baez and Chris Bryant baseballs.
Mm-hmm.
But then like part of that is like it's difficult to display. I also have kids who destroy everything.
Yep.
At least I can like put my cards in a safe or in a Zion case, and like they're somewhat protected. And they have everything's
Let's get into that.
Everything's air tagged. There was a period in her life when she was a baby that she could unlock my phone with her face.
You guys are the same person. That's why.
Like, what the hell is this? like I'm always fearful of like stuff that hangs on the wall. Like Courtney's got like all the Stranger Things Funko Pops. Yeah. And like they're always standing on the couch going to grab them. So I don't know, man. Like I've never thought about that. Like now if I had like a few million to spend and I had to fill a house, I'm sure I would have some sort of room that was like, or some cool pieces throughout.
Yeah. Like for example, your card room right there would be sick to have some sort of like Patrick Williams memorabilia.
Yeah, there is definitely like some P. Will stuff that's going to come, assuming that he's a bull. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it
that's
becomes
true.
A weird story, and like this actually ran on much longer. I think we'll touch on that on the next one. But I've got like a topic about your PC that I really want to go ham on, but I don't want to start it and then do like a shitty partial version of it.
Oh yeah, that needs to be a different episode for sure, because I that's a good question, and we'll discuss that. But yeah, I was so I reposted that TikTok. I don't know if you saw that of us about the NBA Finals, and then it got me in a loophole of watching Luka Doncic highlights, and I miss watching Luka, and and it's gonna be forever when we see him in October. And I don't know if you feel the same with the Bulls, but I'm like, dang it, I see Joker winning the NBA Finals, and he acts like he doesn't care about basketball. It's kind of the same mentality as Luka at that point, because they're both like, I'm not playing 20 years. I rather, and Joker got mad that he had to stay for a parade.
I think he's got like, I don't like, obviously I'm not in Denver and I don't follow like sometimes national coverage of things is lazy and they just go with like easy talking points and nobody like does any due diligence to see whether or not that's real. He seems like he's got like a very like dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
And like nothing's more gangster than like, you think of Jordan laying on the ground, hugging the trophy, crying. You think of Kobe like hunched over, holding it. Nothing's more gangster than not winning the MVP when maybe arguably deserved to win a third MVP, winning a championship in, they kind of 5 games.
Yeah.
The Heat, I mean, obviously a series, in my opinion, that they should have won.
Yep.
And then just being like, meh, ho-hum, I got other stuff to do. That is from somebody who behaves in such a manner. That is some gangster shit right there.
Yeah, but You got players that's like their dream. And did you see the locker room pic where he just had a beer and he's just standing there like,
Come on, man. You don't think those people know him? Just like you're like, oh, when somebody sends me a message, you're like, oh, that's just Jeremy. Don't worry about it.
yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's people who know his sense of humor and like,
No. There's been multiple times. I don't think he's said that basketball is not his like it's his job. He said he hates it sometimes.
do you remember what was it? This is gonna bother me. Was it John Amici? There was some player who signed like a $40-50 million deal with the Jazz back in the day and was very open about the fact that he doesn't like basketball. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't love it.
It's crazy to me.
And
That's
like,
why you get the superstars though. They're the ones besides Joker, and it seems like Luka's on the same. They're just like, I'm not playing 20 years. Um, but like Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, that's their love is the game of basketball. And then you got players that are just like, yeah.
well, speaking from experience, I've worked jobs that I don't love because it provides for myself and my family.
Yeah.
If you told me I had the athletic tools and with a little bit of discipline for a few years, I could bankroll a few $1,000,000, I might be inclined to do something that I don't necessarily love.
Exactly.
And it's foreign for us because, right, like we work really hard. We're in the rat race. And it's so to us, like, you know, even just $1,000,000.
Yeah.
I mean, well, for me, that's a lot of money. For you, not so much.
No.
But for a lot of regular folks, what is it like if you make over 450 or a 1%er?
Yeah. I think it's even less.
It's something like that. It's less than $500,000. If you
Yeah.
make over $500,000, you're like in the 1%.
Yeah.
So for us regular folks, somebody netting that kind of money, it's wild to hear like you don't love it.
I know it's so crazy. Like he seems like he wants to just go race his horses. That was his thing is he had to race horses on this weekend, and that's what he was looking forward to doing.
Yeah, was it like they're like, if you win, are you going to buy another horse or something like that? And he was like, even if we lose, I'm going to buy a horse.
Dude, he's the best, but it would scare me if I was looking to buy his cards to flip because now he's won and one of the best players. He could just be like, I'm done. I want to go do my horses.
He is he's a bad boy, man. Like I enjoy watching him play. Like he's just
Doesn't he's like the lazy version of a basketball player, but is good.
But he's dominating.
I know it's so weird.
It's not like dominating where like Shaq was gonna rip the backboard down and drag a sack on the top of your forehead. He's like dominating in a way where it's like, okay, I'll be the point center. We'll run the offense through me. If I have to chuck up a three, and when he shoots a three, he reminds me of like back at this park where like you'd have people who had no business playing basketball, and I used to like make fun of them, like dude, the soccer field's right there. If you're gonna throw the ball into play, and they were like,
yeah, or how he runs down the court. It's just like everything looks like it's painful, and he doesn't want to be there. But
he might be one of those players that's just like, you know, he's awesome to watch play if you like it. And I understand some people don't like his brand of basketball. Not every player has to be cardboard relevant. Thanks, Cage, for that quote. But not every player is going to be cardboard relevant, or they don't have to be.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, but as a fan, though, it kind of is stressful when you have your players because there's, like you said, there's a lot of people.
It's stressful, dude. He arguably won.
Not him.
He's 2 out of the last 3 MVPs, and he brought you a championship, and you're stressed?
No, not him. But I was thinking about for example, Bulls and Mavs when they don't make the playoffs or barely making it, and they're all we grew up in an era. You watch Jordan, I watch Kobe, and seeing players don't care. They're just happy the season's over. They're like dabbing up everyone, just smiling, and it just seems like a new age of basketball where everyone's friends. No one cares about actually playing basketball. They just care about the money.
Dude, it's a different time. When I was a kid and I was struggling with something, if you would have said like, hey man, I don't feel right, or I feel sad, or I feel anxious, you'd be told that you're a wussy.
Yeah.
That you're soft, that you're weak, that nobody cares.
Yep.
And like something like sack up.
Yeah.
It is a different time now. And so, and here's the thing, in fairness to these people who admit that like, hey, I'm done or I'm happy to be off, once in a while when we don't record, you're happy because you get to go do something like, hey, you want to watch a movie with your wife, or you want to watch a show, or you want to play video games, or you want to make puñetas, or do whatever it is that you're doing down in the basement.
No,
I mean? So that happens. That's very real. Sometimes, man, sometimes shit that I love doing, I don't want to do. Like this last weekend, that Friday when people were in the Midwest Monster, I was kind of like, man, dude, I'm kind of glad I'm not there. Like it feels good just to chill and just like not do card stuff, even though I love doing it. I just,
No, I was the opposite. I had mad FOMO. I wish I was there, but I was also getting beat up by a 4-year-old and 2-year-old all weekend because Mama was gone.
Daddy duty.
Yeah.
Daddy duty.
Yeah.
I love it. No, but I mean, I think that's very fair, man. Sometimes it's okay not to love the thing that you love doing.
Yes. I don't know. I want the old NBA back. I'm like the old boomer now. I want the old NBA back where everyone hated each other, no one was friends, and that's why I don't really like watching the NBA as much as you do, because that's all everyone's just like, yay, it's vacation. Let's all go to Cancun. We didn't make the playoffs.
What it is? It's like it's a slow buildup for the postseason.
Yeah.
It's like with players being. Now, I will say this. This is one thing that I really respect that I'm reading more and more about like older basketball players where they took pride in playing 80, 81, 82 games and not taking time off because there was a real self-awareness about the fact that tickets are expensive. To bring your family to a game is a serious cost, and nothing sucks more than like going to see and the star player sitting.
Yep.
So like, and maybe it is because we're getting old, like the load management, I get it. But do you remember, like, even in baseball, there was no like a starting pitcher, like you want him to go 7, 8, 9 innings.
Like,
if you weren't throwing 200 innings a year, what the hell was the point? There was pitchers that used to pitch the day and night doubleheader.
Yes.
And now it's like, hey, as a starter, if you can just get me to 5, our bullpen's going to be situated where we have like 4 specialists.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then we close out the game and we'll just shorten the game. So there is some of that that's frustrating. It's also, I like competition. I don't like the sandbag it and we'll just turn it on in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand it. Doesn't mean I have to like it. So to your point of somebody not liking it, I completely understand your point.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's why I got turned off by the NBA and kind of love college, because they're all fighting to go pro at that point, and it means more to them. So that's kind of why I like the college market more than the professional.
I think that's why people like Draymond Green or people who aren't like the most gifted or naturally talented, or even Jimmy Butler, have a little bit of a cult following, is because they do have to work their asses off. They have to show up every day. They have to be, very disciplined and intentional and deliberate with what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, some bigger stars who I'm sure, no doubt, work their asses off, but are talented enough that they can just kind of turn it on and off whenever. And, they can be lackadaisical. And fortunately, we just have to take it.
I have a question before we go. And I want to ask the community, and maybe you don't even have to answer it, but I do want to give a question out there, and we could probably clip it. But if you could be any profession, and it's kind of like you brought it up, kind of made me pop it in my brain. If you could be any professional like athlete, in what position, what would you want to be?
I would be a left-handed pitcher who can throw strikes.
Specifically a closer, reliever, or a starter.
Starter, man. I only have to go 5 innings. Let me be lefty. I'll learn to hold the runner. You know what I mean? And then just throw strikes. You're good.
I was thinking that. So
get you 30 to 50 million a year, play for 15 years. Your body doesn't get beat up. No CTE. You mix in a little substance on the hat once in a while, get a little extra something on that ball. You're golden, kid.
Yeah. So that's probably, I was thinking that, or a relief pitcher where you just go and sit majority of the time and you go and pitch 1 inning.
No, but here's the thing with the relief pitchers, you don't quite know.
No. Yeah.
You don't know, like if you've gone 2 days in a row, you're probably not going to go a 3rd day in a row. But if you're a starter every 5th day, or some teams going with a 6-man rotation every 6th day, you just got to give them 5 innings.
Yeah, and then I didn't realize this until I watched like this documentary of Clayton Kershaw. But the days you don't pitch, you don't even have to be with the team. They're like out in Disney World doing other stuff. They just come that 5th day. Some pitchers do.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think like I can't even find a close second.
Yeah.
I couldn't even find a close second because if you're a position player, you're honing your craft. As a pitcher, you have your long days, you have your long toss days or whatever. But really, you have the opportunity, like you pitch, you get the couple days off, ice the elbow and shoulder. You're doing your fitness, but you're chilling.
Yep.
And I don't mean chilling because I don't want to dismiss what they do. They're looking at scouting reports, they're understanding their next matchup, they're doing all that stuff. But I don't know, man. That's a lot of bang for not much.
So I'm curious what other people say. So we should clip it and then put that out.
Can you clip that?
Yeah. So that, and I think a close second might be a second string QB. They're getting paid millions to play with the practice team and not come in unless there's an injury.
Yeah. What was his name? He was on the Bears for a brief moment, and he's always like one of the highest paid backups, and he's only ever taken like just like a couple dozen snaps.
Was it McCrown or something like that?
Man, this is gonna drive me crazy. We're gonna do it live on air. We got to figure this out. We have to figure this out. What was his name? Bears. I think he went to Missouri.
Chase
Daniels. Like, he has made a plethora of money and has had like I think it's like less than Chase Daniel.
There's Chase Daniel and Josh McCown, which I thought it was Josh McCown because he was like the number 1 pick for the Bears or something, or Browns. Like, he was like a high pick for the Browns at one point.
All right. So the first thing when you Google Chase Daniel, this is the article that pops up. Chase Daniels continues to be the NFL's quarterback contract GOAT.
Well, so there you go. It's Chase
Veteran quarterback Chase Daniel agreed to a 3-year, $13.05 million deal with the Lions, blah, blah, blah. He will reach almost $48 million in career earnings.
To be the second, to sit on the sideline.
Yep.
And
like, if you go into it, they break it down. Like, he's made $5 million per passing touchdown, $230,000, like, how they get fun with money.
Yeah.
He's only ever made 5 starts and thrown 7 touchdowns.
What a kick job.
I guess not. You risk injury.
Yeah.
And you do have to, like, the readiness and being prepared as a quarterback, and like NFL is like the exact opposite of what we were just talking about. Like, if you're not there from 3 a.m., if you're not the first one there, the last one to leave, if you haven't like beaten a woman, like let go of your family, obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's like the culture where like you have to be crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, even a bench on the NBA, they're making like $1 million.
Golfers. I don't love golf, but people who love to golf, if you just go and get just like totally like
John Daly,
you party and you go and hit a golf ball and smoke cigars and you earn like living, that might not be bad.
Live golfer, we'll say that.
Live. Ooh.
So, but I mean, do you have anything else on our?
Nope. I think within the next 2 to 3 weeks we want to drop the first official tease of what's going to be available at the National.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So excited to share that with you. Make sure you're following All Things Reckless. We've got the Revolution break. We've got the single fire sale. We've got the Disney stuff. We're all over the place, man. So
you are
Reckless cards. But make sure, most importantly, you follow Manny. Yeah, you follow Manny. You're actually already following Manny because I think everybody in the hobby is following Manny.
Yeah.
Like to the tune of 11,300 followers.
All right. I don't want to hear it.
I just answered the question. Don't DM me because I just answered it for you.
Oh.
The follower count, Manny, 11.3K.
All right.
11.3K.
Nope.
You are in posts
Nope.
with PWCC, Ruben, Fanatics. You are being compared to the Trove guy.
Nope.
You are everywhere.
It's mostly a troll, but
The blow up,
what
the
do you want?
glow up of one Manny being Manny, 11,300.0.
Nope, don't want to hear it. What do you want the people to do, Jeremy?
I would like y'all to smash.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yep.
And if you're listening on Apple and Spotify, make sure you review. Don't review if you're giving me a 1 star because how bad I am. Make
Give
sure
Manny
you
11,300 stars.
Yeah, there you go. I like
The
that.
community has just rallied around you. You're like, oh, I suck. Nobody likes me.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I go and look, and you've got, oh my God.
No one likes
You are so popular. You got Russian sex bots sharing your stuff, man. Big ups to you, big Dow.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed your hobby release. We will be back soon, sooner than you think. And with that, peace.